Okay, this is the area supposedly Jane Eleanor Sherman Lacey lived in on Main Street in Bridgeport. So this appears to be the neighborhood where she would have lived, although we don't know this for certain, but this may have been approximately where her house stood or would have stood. This dwelling appears to be a little more modern, not 19th century, although the brick on the side looks a little older. It's hard to tell. But anyway, this may have been where Jane Eleanor Sherman Lacey and her husband Roland resided during their stay and life in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Okay, I'm just pulling into Pembroke Cemetery, which I think is Lakeview Cemetery. Pembroke is a historic cemetery in Bridgeport, and I think this is a possible location for the Lacey family plot. We'll see. I have really nothing to go on, and it's quite a big cemetery, as can be seen here from the car. So it should prove to be quite interesting as I just simply kind of literally stumble around and see if I can't find something. But let's see, here we go. Okay, again, this is a massive cemetery. So I'm going to try and find the any administrators that might be on site and see if they don't have some sort of log as to who's buried here. So we'll see. So far I haven't seen too many old graves though. A lot of them from the 20th century and even up to the more recently 21st century. But I haven't really gone too deep into it. We'll see. Okay, still at Pembroke Cemetery, which is no longer Pembroke, and found some very interesting information out though from the office. Couldn't find Lacey's body, but it turns out Pembroke Cemetery was on P.T. Barnum's land. And P.T. Barnum, in order to build his mansion, dug up the cemetery and had all of the bodies moved sometime in the 1870s or 1880s. We have to check on some of this, but he had all the bodies moved to this cemetery, which is Lakeview, and to some other cemeteries. Now, whether or not her body was caught up in that move or not, and if Edward's and Henry's bodies were, we don't know. But I've got some leads to go check on some other cemeteries, but it is possible that had she been buried in Pembroke Cemetery, which was one of the older cemeteries in this area, her body, along with Edward's body and Henry's body, could have possibly been moved and may have been lost in that move, as the tombstones didn't always match up the bodies, and in fact some of the tombstones were used in P.T. Barnum's porch or something to that effect. So again, some of this we have to check out, but a very interesting turn in the story. Okay, here we are at the Bridgeport Office of Vital Statistics, hoping to find some more information. Okay, have found that the state of Connecticut has the strangest laws as far as research goes. They will not let me have access to the records unless I pay $10 and do so, submit a request by mail. So for some reason they just simply won't walk to the back and look this information up in their ledgers. You have to submit it by mail, and if you want a copy, pay $10 for each certificate, death certificate that you want. So, not too happy with the state of Connecticut right now. Coming all the way from Virginia, and they won't help. Okay, so after regrouping, I went back in and asked very politely if I could simply just submit the paperwork and let them look quickly to find this information. They were extremely rude. So, I have now decided I'm calling Congressman Goodlatte's office in order to see if he can't help me out here, since I've driven 500 miles to look at these records and they're not letting me in. So we will see how that goes. Okay, I'm back at the hotel room trying to think of how to handle this with the vital records. Goodlatte's office wants me to email them to put in an official request, so I'm going to do that. And then I've also contacted one genealogical society in Connecticut, in Fairfield, to see if I can't somehow become an honorary member to get a card to be able to go in and access the records that we need to see. So anyway, we're working on it, and right now I'm about to compose the email to Congressman Goodlatte's office.